Alice, I'm 22 and like many Brits who go abroad each year, I like to catch the sun and seek some thrill and adventure at the same time. One popular experience tourists are cashing in on each year is quad biking. Concerns about hiring quad bikes has grown after a rise in serious and fatal accidents.
So all the dirt went all down there.
My ankle's sticking out, bro. This come off.
What is that?
The wheel mirror.
Yeah, and because it broke, my brake stopped working. That's when I fell off the bike.
I got a blister and my thumb hurts and my bike's chain broke.
I'm recording this. Mainly to help Katie to realise just how lucky she is to be alive.
Welcome, come in.
Thank you. Hi girls. Hi.
Thanks so much for coming. Should we go and have a sit through there?
Marna was my daughter, is my daughter. She was 21. What was she like? She was adventurous. She really enjoyed life. She loved people. She loved her family. She was really vibrant. One of those people that you remember when you meet them, you know. Some people might have just met her once, but they could really remember the conversations, and she made you feel important, you know. She would observe you and compliment you, and she's one of those people that you meet and you become best friends quite quickly, like you want to be around her. So, and as a mum, that was because she'd gone through the teenage years. We'd gone into that age where we were really great company, you know. I really enjoyed her company and she enjoyed mine.
Marna's pushing the pram for me.
Since I'm pushing it, I feel like I might as well make it into a workout.
She was funny, really funny, crazy actually. Her laugh was just contagious.
Marna and Kyan. That's Marna when Kyan left primary school. That's Adrian Lila. She just sort of bounced through life. But Marna and Jacady, they always came together, didn't they? They were always a pair. Marna always used to really look up to Jacady. They weren't like aunt and niece, they were more like sisters, and they did everything together really when they were younger.
She was only two and a half years younger than me, and my sister Tashaka, she would often be sort of doing fabulous work away on tour in The Lion King or singing with people. So my mum spent a lot of our younger lives bringing us up.
I mean, what kind of made you decide that you wanted to go quad biking on your holiday?
She loved them. She absolutely loved them. I remember when she was living there and she was like, oh my God, the quad bikes, you've got to get them, you can go, and you've got your headphones on and music and you're feeling all bad on your bike. So she'd said before, we're getting some quad bikes. There was lots of little windy roads because it was all on the edge of Turkey, of this place. And you think, let's take my time, drive carefully. So we were driving through all the bendy bits and we crashed literally about 10 minutes after just hitting the motorway where you'd assume that you're safe. You know, this bit all happened so quickly. You know, when I think back, it felt like half a second. Might have been about 4 seconds. But literally, imagine that you're driving and where you can see road going ahead for miles, all of a sudden it looked like that. It just looked like there was no more road to go on. And I didn't think we're going to crash or anything, but I did think the road looks a bit funny, and what had happened is the tarmac had been crumbling in that area and they hadn't redone it. So yeah, without knowing any of that, basically the bike just started going off the road and there was nothing didn't know why it was happening. I didn't know what to think. I didn't think. I just sort of sat there like, God, and I could just feel the bike. It's like it turned that way, and down there was it's just concrete.
Look, Katie, it's not your fault, you know. The road just runs out. It shouldn't be here like this.
And you could see it was far. It's like it was a verge. Like you didn't really know where it was headed to, but it just didn't look like a good place to end up. It didn't look like, oh, we can crash and land. It was like up and over and down and down and down. So I blacked out. I don't know if it was fear or what, but as soon as the bike picked up and left the road, I blacked out.
Tell me, how does it feel to lose a child?
That's a hard question. That is a hard question. It's not something that you ever can really describe, but the way I try to describe it is, if you're a mum and you've lost your child in the supermarket, or even if you just feel like you've lost sight of them for a minute, that feeling that you get, that feeling of panic, just living with that day to day, that's kind of what it feels like. It's she's not with me every day, and she's a huge part of my life. Being your first child, it's not something you can ever get over. The whole experience is not something you wouldn't wish it on anyone. You really wouldn't. And that's why we're, you know, trying to get as many people to hear and be aware of this as possible, because if you could stop one person from having an accident like this, or just to ask a question about the helmet, or, you know, whatever it takes in order that an accident like this doesn't happen again, that would mean the world to me. Because you know what you're avoiding. You know it's another family that doesn't have to go through this trauma.
I decided to take a journey to Sherwood Forest to see how lenient the quad bike safety rules are in the UK.
Don, you're right.
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and you. And you. So we give everybody one of these sheets. It's our do's and don'ts. We give them a copy, and then we actually read a copy as well. So they're hearing it and getting the opportunity to read it. And it really just covers the basics, talks about how they should wear their helmet, how the strap should be, keeping the visor down, wearing the gloves, making sure that any of their clothing is all protected, so any long shoelaces, for example. And it really just reconfirms how important it is that they take the information that we're every stage is geared to make them confident that they're capable.
I almost landed myself in a nasty crash in Turkey just 2 years before Marna's death. Going through all these safety procedures with Don before even being allowed on a bike was a totally different experience.
The visor, gloves and the coveralls, and it's very simple. If you're not wearing it, you're not riding it. Okay. And it's as simple as that. So that's the helmet. Yeah, absolutely. So basically the way that it works is 2 straps, hold the straps in, and then just slides on. And what you're looking for is it just to hug your cheeks. Yeah. So if I'm moving it up and down, just hugging your cheeks, that means it's nice and snug. And then obviously gloves. Yeah, brilliant. the environment we're in, stones, dirt, debris gets flicked back, so we want to keep your hands safe as well.
Let's say you had someone come in and they were opposed to wearing this equipment, would they be allowed on?
No.
They wouldn't?
If you're not wearing the PPE, you're not riding the quad, and it's as simple as that. There are some cultures, or there's some legislation in the UK that permits certain people that wear turbans to not need to wear a helmet on the road, but the road legislation doesn't apply here. We're actually stricter. It doesn't. It's not about the person's beliefs or religion or culture. For us, it's about protecting them. So although you might not want to wear the helmet, we know that that risk to you is just not worth taking. So if you're not willing to wear the equipment, you're not riding the quad bike. So you can have somebody that has no motorised or no skill in driving anything other than a push bike. You give them the money, they'll give you the keys. There should be, I mean, it's just, I don't understand why anybody would do it, and I don't think it's morally right that people will take the money, but they will, because the legislation isn't there to make people do anything any different.
Don told me how quad bikes aren't suitable for road use, which really worried me considering I had no idea when I hired one out.
I always saw them as a fun thing, but no longer do, so you may have saved my life.
And how does it make you feel to read comments like that?
Well, it's what keeps you going. It's what you do it for, isn't it? Even if it's one person. You know, I lost one person, and it's huge. It's massive. She's one person to other people. You know, they don't know her, but it's massive to you and your family. It's your everything, isn't it? So, if that's another one person that's going to think differently and maybe not take it so lightly, consider it and be safer, or just not get on them at all, at least in that way, that's amazing, really. It's a good feeling.
As a family, we've started an online petition at change.org so that more people can hear about it, and hopefully we'll get to push to have the regulations tightened in places like Turkey, and when they're renting quads and helmets to holidaymakers. I thought it'd be good now to talk to Callum. He's actually a family friend and a friend of Marna actually when they were young, and I didn't realise it, but he's also had a quad bike accident, so it'd be good to hear what his thoughts are too.
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
I'm alright, thanks. It was good to speak to you. Thanks for getting in touch.
It's probably not a motorcycle and quad bike expert.
Mm.
You probably don't know that your helmet is not. You expect it to be...
To do the job.
That's your parachute.
Yeah.
Because you put it on your head, it kind of makes you feel safe. It makes you kind of... In a way, there is that full sense of security thing we were talking about earlier.
It's upsetting, isn't it? Because there are just three people here talking, and all situations but more or less the same thing, really. Being abroad on a quad bike, on the back of a quad bike, and three people had very different experiences just because, you know, there's nothing really to say that yours or Callum's situation couldn't have gone the way Amana's did, or she could have just got up and brushed herself off. But that's the Russian roulette that you're playing when you get on one of these bikes, isn't it? So really, having that protection is so important. I liked what Callum said, it's your parachute. It's your parachute, isn't it? You're not going to jump out of a plane without one. You're not going to expect it not to open. It needs to work properly.